Mardi Gras.
Next day. That's our long day. Yeah.
Ooh, the next day.
We missed Adonis, which was very upsetting, but we made it to.
Well, we were the night before. We kind of got a little bit of a late start going on
Yeah.
Saturday.
We went to Pontchartrain. We went to King Arthur.
Yeah. Well,
wait, let
did
me
we
look
see
at
King
my.
Arthur? No, I wasn't King Arthur that day.
No, it's Pontchartrain, Choctaw, Ferret, and there's one other one. Let me look at my cheat sheet.
That's where we met the captain of Ocean. He said they had a good crowd out there the night before. That was good to hear. I was kind of curious if weather really hurt them or not.
Pontchartrain, Choctaw, and Ferret were in the morning. That evening was Sparta and Pygmalion. Pontchartrain and Choctaw and Ferret, we had a good time at.
Yeah.
I remember we got to see the Lucha Crew in Ferret. We got to see the
if we
Dames.
If we ever stop doing the run for some weird reason, I'm joining the Lucha Crew.
Yeah, those guys look like they're absolutely having a blast.
Yeah, every time, man. Like every time you see them, they're like, "Yeah."
Let's see. I remember Choctaw was extra beautiful with the. There's something always really special about that crew. All the parades that day were.
Yeah, I've always liked Choctaw, even when they were on the West Bank. That one has always been a really pretty parade.
Yeah, and Ferret kicked it up a notch.
I don't have my hatchet, but I got a custom hatchet from Choctaw this year.
Oh yeah, you did.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a wooden hatchet that's about the size of an actual hatchet, and it's
cut out, painted and decorated.
Yeah, we'll
if you
post
calling me up. I was like kind of hanging out back, and she's like, "Ooh, come see," and handed it over to me like, "Ooh, all right." I didn't even realize they had one.
Yeah,
so it was kind of cool.
At Pontchartrain, we each caught one of the crawfish trays.
Yeah. Oh, put mine to use the other day.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
You can't go eat anywhere, so I went and picked up some crawfish.
Yeah. They have it's one of those plastic bar trays, crawfish trays.
Yeah. Good size.
And on the inside of it, it's painted with the logo. And then Ferret was extra beautiful this year. You could see where a lot of their floats, you noticed a jump up in the beauty of that parade this year.
Yeah, I think, when they were first coming back, everybody was like, wait a minute, this isn't the same one, but they've paid homage to the old crew, and I think a lot of the people have liked that and joined in,
Yeah. Obviously the trombone shorty float.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing to see a giant trombone shorty. It's like a 3-story tall trombone shorty.
Yeah, I guess he's stuck playing. He's stuck in that parade for a while now.
Oh yeah.
He's like, hey, we gave you float.
Yeah, but I think he has no problem with it. It looked like
it
looked like he was having a blast on that float. Let's see. That night we went to Metairie. And we saw another new parade. The Mad Hatters.
Yeah.
What do you think of them? Do you think that from what we talked with...
When we spoke with them.
Yeah, when we talked with the Lacoste, they said that, here's our plans, and they showed us those pictures.
Yeah.
Their
I was
floats followed through.
I was a little
And
concerned that it was going to be a little too Disney-like, but it really wasn't at all. It was completely Mardi Gras. It was different, like it had a bit of a different feel, but like it wasn't Disney-like at all. I wouldn't say, or maybe 10%, to where
yeah,
they had bands and all on every float, and caught a shirt from Bobby Abear, which
yeah.
unfortunately is pink now that I washed it with a red towel. but but it was a magnificent catch. Like it was an overhand one hander.
Yeah.
Uh, it was 7 points all the way, 6 points, I guess.
And then Centurions. I wish we had Mr. Devon here to talk about this one.
Mm,
Where we were on the parade route, there was a big break between Centurions and Mad Hatters.
right.
I remember that like we were waiting for like 45 minutes, and then
Right.
when we looked at the parade tracker, the parade hadn't budged. I don't know
Mm,
what happened, but
right.
when you're trying to make the numbers that we do,
Well,
we had to make a quote unquote business decision.
yeah, which is a shame because we had
Yeah, which
spoken
is
with those guys, and I was really looking forward to seeing it.
yeah. I was hoping that the gap wouldn't have been as big between the two. Again, I
They
don't
must
know if
have had a breakdown. They must have. I mean, I don't know
yeah,
how else. Because Metairie, they generally follow right behind each other. There's no break like that. So
right.
something unusual happens.
Yeah, some unfortunate circumstances had to have happened. Um, yeah, and I was really looking forward to it. Devin showed me because Devin was at the very beginning of the route,
Yeah.
and we were like pretty close to the end,
Yeah.
and we were hoping that that gap would have been smaller to where we would have been able to watch them and then make it out to town to see Sparta and Pygmalion.
Yeah.
We missed Sparta again. I
That's
mean,
a tough one. It's almost impossible to hit all the Metairie ones, especially with Mad Hatters. That made it more difficult. But I don't know. Well, it's been so long since I've really seen the beginning of Sparta. It's hard to really make a picture of it. But we really always make Pygmalion. I love that parade. That's a beauty.
yeah. Before we get on to Pygmalion, I will say that the pictures that I have seen of Centurions,
Mm-hmm.
really brings home that statement that we said to where, I'm disappointed that I missed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looked like it was a very beautiful parade.
Well, they had mentioned that they were building a signature float there. Do you know what that was?
I think it was
Or-
the. I'd have to look back at them. I'm drawing
Yeah.
kind of a blank on it, but
'Cause they wouldn't break the news, but they had told us it was something new. I
yeah.
was curious as to what that was.
And I would say in the future, I'm going to work even harder to make sure that we get closer up on on the parades in Metairie,
Yeah.
to where we can catch both of them, because I
Yeah,
never want to miss. I never want to miss Centurions again.
no, because well,
Seeing
we had caught the earlier parades. I don't know, midway of the route, and I think that might have hurt us. Plus, they were a little slow moving too. We didn't expect that. So
yeah,
by the time it came around, we ended up being a little later on the route for Mad Hatters and in turn Centurion. So yeah, it kind of pushed us all back. But we didn't expect it to the uptown daytime ones to last that long. So.
yeah, and I think that with the growth that Ferret is seeing,
Yeah.
it's making it to where that's more of a. I thought that I'd heard, that they're, asking for approval to be considered a super crew.
Yeah, I'd heard that too. I don't know what you need approval for. It's just like, yeah, get the numbers.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that approval actually is.
Yeah. Neither do I. I don't think that there's an official classification thing. I think it's just, yeah, if you've got over, you know, 2,000 members or
Yeah,
whatever number, that you're a super crew.
yeah, I don't know if like you have to be decreed a super crew.
Yeah, I'm not. I that's one of those kind of questions that I wish we had someone we could ask to truly get
Yeah,
an answer on. But I think that if you were to ask one quote unquote expert, they'd say one thing. If you were to ask another quote unquote expert, they'd have a different story
I think
behind it.
we just from now on we make the official ruling who we think's a super crew.
Yeah, that's the new declaration.
Shit, it's almost every Uptown parade at this point is now a super crew.
Yeah,
there's no small ones anymore.
Right. Yeah. So, to end out that night, we did catch Pygmalion. We caught it right at the end.
Yeah.
And, and yeah, that was a insane run out to the parade. I remember I was extremely exhausted by the end. But it didn't help that Pygmalion always throws a large number of different doubloons.
Yeah.
And when you're a doubloon collector like us, we're collectors. You want to collect them all.
Mm-hmm.
So to see the different variety of them that they were throwing, they had these little crest things, and there was like 8 or 9 different colors.
Yeah, and then they had a matching set of the pages or whatever, the same colors. Then I want to say they had 4 different throw doubloons this year. I mean, it was a crazy amount.
Yeah, there was a large number of them, and as we were walking back to the car, in the dark per se, you can't really tell, a pink versus a red, versus a burgundy could all look the same. So you're not sure if you're missing any of them. So you pick up anything that you see.
Well, plus they have the same color, different designs. So
right.
If you don't pick it up, you might have missed something that you weren't even aware of. So
yeah,
that was. But we had a sack of them like before we were done. But I remember about the last ones we went down and picked up, we both were like, I'm going to sit here for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were all on the curb, basically, where we were picking them up. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, I'm grabbing these. And then I'm sitting right here. And it's like, you sure? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here. My dogs is killing me.
I mean, that was after night of riding and what is that, 8 parades we went to that day, or 7, something like that?
Yeah, something 3, 5. That was the 5th parade that day.
Okay.
But I mean,
Sparta. Yeah.
And then turn around to the very next day. We did it again. We did it again. We woke up and we went to Carrollton and King Arthur and Femme Fatale.
Speaking of, I have something from Carrollton for you that I don't think you got. Yeah.
Ooh.
Get that one?
No, I didn't get one of those.
I got that one for you. You got
That's pretty.
You got the multi, huh?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I got the multi, but I didn't get the rider medallion one.
And then, of course, their signature throw is a boot.
Yeah.
Got my boot from the old man.
Yeah, I have.
I don't know if I discovered this when we were at the ride, but for our traditional fist pump
It's a golf ball with a fist on
Found it golfing one day. Should have decorated it. He's like,
Yeah, I have my boot that your dad gave me, and the horses that he threw me. And there was one other special thing that he threw me, which was he threw me. It was like so we have a running gag to where when the horse groups come and like typically in the beginning of the parade, like there's a few sheriff's offices, and there's a couple riding clubs that every year like their big to do is riding in the parades. Well, when they come past, the chant that I do for them, instead of just throw me something, it's throw me a horse. And your dad has been there a number of times to see me screaming, throw me a horse, to where, he now thinks that I'm obsessed with catching horses. And he throws every year for the past like 5 years. He has thrown me a stuffed animal horse. He threw me a blew up horse, kind of like an inflatable love doll.
did I ever tell you the story about that one?
No.
So, I have a confession to make, but you'll find it funny. So I was like, I got something for you to give to him. He's like, oh, okay. So I handed it to him. He's like, well, I can't take up this much room on the float. So I actually snuck it with me the whole day. I had it in my pocket. And like 3 or 4 floats before he got to us, I was like, I'm going to go run to the bathroom. Well, what I did was I took it out of the package. I started blowing it up. And I'm like walking down the street blowing up this blow up horse. So like I got to him, I handed it to him, and then I kind of ran back to our spot.
Which is always easy to do because, like you went up there, and you probably came back with a bag. Yeah. And then when he got over there by me, he waves me over, and I'm assuming, he's going to give me a boot or whatever. He gives me a boot with one hand, and then he gives me a blow up horse with the other.
I got some funny looks walking down the street blowing up a horse because, of course, the nozzle was the horse's ass, So.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Let's see. But this year he gave me, it was like a play school, like riding thing, like an infant would ride on a little roll around horsey thing.
I have a picture of you on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a picture of me on this little horsey thing. Yeah, and he handed that to me, which is kind of strange that he complained about a blow up horse, but he kept that giant thing in his
he found that at some thrift shop for like $3 and was so excited about it. He like stopped by my work to show me. Like, look at this one. I don't know if I'll ever beat this one. I was like, ooh.
Let's see. Besides that, we on that day we also saw King Arthur, who we had on the show.
Yeah,
and they had a ton of doubloons that day too. Well, both Carrollton and King Arthur traditionally have a good set of doubloons. Like to where I think Carrollton had like a dozen, and King Arthur had to have like probably close to 20.
Yeah, just with the chalices alone were 8, something like that. So
yeah, there was I think 6 chalices and 7 horses, or 7 dragons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and then they had a Merlin and Morgana one, and then I think they had 2 different king ones.
Yeah,
and a queen one maybe.
But I think there's a king and queen together, or something like that.
Yeah, but they had several doubloons as well. You caught something special that day.
Well, I wonder. You mean my great award here
Yes,
from our buddy Charlie, my man?
that would be it. That would be it.
I really feel like I need to make a speech when I roll this bad boy up. This is from last year, but I didn't get one. He scored it for me at one of their crew meetings, so that was awesome. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, he gave me some of the doubloons, and I think he gave me a grail. Pretty sure I got a grail that day.
Yeah, I think he gave me one.
Yeah,
So he was like, "You want a grail?" I was like, "Oh no, I'll take the statue."
yeah.
We'd seen him a few days before, and he's like, "I think I could get you one, man. You want a grail or a statue?" I was like, "Oh no, I want a statue."
Yeah, I want a statue.
I hope one day I actually win an award for something. I'm gonna like sneak that on and just make my speech with it. Like, wait a minute, that's not the award.
Let's see. I will say that again, both of those parades were really pretty.
Yeah.
You know, to see let's see, Carrollton had Colors of the Wind.
Color My World.
Or Color My World. Yeah, there it is. And they had like 30 floats with different colors to where like the green one was money. You know, the orange one I think had like a giant orange on it. The blue one had, you know, like a big baby bottle on it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we could go on for an hour just to explain. And then King Arthur was cool. I mean, they've always got like something that really sticks out about their floats.
Yeah. Well, they're huge for one. I mean, they have 1 million people on that in that parade, so that's one of the numbers of that parade have got to skyrocket every year. It feels like, you know.
Yeah. And then Femme Fatale. That one was cool as well.
They
remember
throws. I like their throws. They're always something different.
Yeah,
like I caught like a little fingernail clipper setter or something there. I was like, the hell? Ooh, that's kind of nice, you know?
Yeah, well, their signature throw is the compact.
Yeah.
And from what it looks like, the flask as well seemed to be a well-known signature or big throw that they do.
Yeah, well, of course, we both carry a flask full of king cake the entire Mardi Gras. But for their parade, well, the first year before I knew they had them, I took a swig, and a girl looked at me. She's like, "Ooh, you come see!" And she threw me a flask, and I was like, "A flask." But yeah, so like now, whenever they roll by, I kind of like have it out, take a sip there in a while. Like you can feel like, "Ooh, he likes a flask."
I remember that the rain, it was like real bad weather that morning to where like it rained that night.
Yeah.
And it was kind of rainy, nasty in the beginning getting out there. Because we went way in the front of the...
It cleared for the parades. My dad said they didn't see any rain the whole day. So
yeah.
Like, all right. I was worried about him getting rained out, but he said they made it fine. So
yeah. So we then had a few days off to rest. And then on Wednesday it came back.
Moochie.
Druids we somehow missed this year.
I think I was stuck at work late or something. No, I would have been off that day. I don't know how we missed it. Maybe you were still at work or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I got stuck late at work that day because it was my last day before vacation. So
I know what it was. We parked like 1.5 miles away.
Oh, yeah.
that's what it was. Well, I think we were there in time and just missed it because we couldn't find a spot.
Yeah, we walked. We parked. It was like 15 blocks away or something like that.
Yeah, and we searched before we did that.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that people may not know is I have a little bitty car specifically for Mardi Gras parades.
Yeah.
While it's spacious inside, the length of this car, it's a Honda Fit. So, I mean, it's not, it's maybe 6 feet long. You know what I mean? Like,
Park it where your motorcycle spots are.
yeah, it's just bigger than it's.
People otherwise can't take. You can take.
Right. So, we looked all over the place and we couldn't find a spot. So we ended up parking like a mile away.
Yeah, I think that's how we ended up missing it, actually, because I think we got there in time until then.
Yeah, because it took us like 30 minutes to find a parking spot.
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes to walk from the parking spot to where we stand for the parade. And they were like, when we got there, they were like, oh, no, you just missed it. It's, just finished about 5 minutes ago.
That's another one that's the balloon collector nightmare is that parade.
Yeah, well, that's because of one float in particular. Yeah. That parade, there's one float which is a streetcar, and it's the conductor's float, to where I think that's a particular officer of the organization. And each one of them has their own wooden nickel.
Yeah.
And there's, there's like 15 people on the float.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nearly impossible. I think I ended up with half a dozen or so, but yeah, there's a lot of them you can't get.
Yeah, I think I only got like 7 of them, or 8 maybe.
Yeah. That's pretty good, though. It's hard to get very many more than that.
And just after it was Nick's.
Yeah.
The portion of the parade that we did get to see was beautiful. Like we had mentioned earlier, there was the crowds were very thick.
Yeah. That would explain us parking forever away.
Right. We had a great time at the parade. Unfortunately, it was cut short by tragedy. But we had a great time at it, and we always look forward to Nick's every year. Yeah. That's one that always is a fun one, to where they always have lots of sustainable throws and like different throws, to where it's not just beads.
Yeah, actually, they don't throw very many beads compared to all the other things. I mean, they have a ton of like usable things, that is just going into a bag into your attic. It's things that you can put to use every day.
Yeah, they have that selfie light.
Yeah.
See, I have a colander from Nick's that I use every year.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean, that I use anytime that I cook. Yeah. And obviously the purses. I mean, I personally can't use a purse other than for, hey, that's a pretty decoration over there with my Mardi Gras stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know lots of ladies that, if they have a purse that goes with say a costume, or a look that they're going for, that they caught from Nick's. I have seen women out on the street with their Nick's purse.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm not sure I've ever seen that, but maybe like during Mardi Gras, maybe, but not outside of Mardi Gras.
No, it's it's usually like those little hand clasp purses.
Yeah.
I'm not a
little larger than a coin purse, but in that, I don't know, style.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen a handful of those out in public prior.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Do we want to take this time to talk a little bit about? We had mentioned sustainable throws
Yeah.
throughout Mardi Gras.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on? Do you think that there was definitely a decline in uh, beads and miscellaneous? Shall we call it waste?
The city had made a rule about you couldn't throw bags, from beads. Like all the beads were taken out of, except the zipper bags. You were allowed to throw those because people use them. But like all the regular plastic cellophane bags that, like a gross of beads would come in, you weren't allowed to have those in the streets. And I thought that made a difference because you didn't see just tons of waste. Like there was no 2 feet wide section of plastic in the drains. There was still more beads than I was expecting to see this year, given that we had spoken to so many captains and riders, and they were all on the bandwagon of, more or less phasing beads out for more things like, handmade throws and usable throws. So I was a little surprised to see as much as we did, honestly. Uh, but it was a decline, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say it was a pretty obvious decline.
compared to say 2019, at the end of a parade night, there would
Hmm.
be, a big pile of miscellaneous unwanted beads
Hmm.
and, miscellaneous, just, like you were saying, the plastic bags that all the beads and throws come in,
Cardboard
that
boxes,
the
everything else.
streets did look significantly cleaner
Hmm.
this year than in years past.
I was curious what the beginning of the routes look like, because I mean they have to put them somewhere. You have to unpack. So, but no, I thought that was a good move. I heard some rumbling that a lot of people didn't like that rule, uh, because frankly they get tangled up. There's a reason they're in bags. But
Yeah,
I think that's a good rule, and it might push people away from getting bees altogether. Because almost nobody wants them anymore. Like
yeah. I
unless you're
mean,
in another parade where you're going to collect them, 99% of the people, if it hits the ground, it stays on the ground. And as a rider, I don't want to throw anything
that's
that's
just
just
going to
going
get
to hit the ground and stay.
right. Yeah, I want to pick up. I want to throw things that people want to pick up and either cherish or play with or
Yeah,
enjoy.
like stuffed animals for kids are great. Uh, we saw it kind of late. It was kind of too late, and we had already stocked up. But there's a company making. I think there's several of them now that make small bags of red beans, little bags of coffee grinds, and things like that. That you just use. You eat it or drink it or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
That's a great
I
idea.
know exactly who you're talking about. They had coffee. I think they had like a dirty rice.
Yeah,
They had like
it's
a
like
red beans,
like
maybe a jambalaya one.
everything. You just put it in water and let it soak for a while, and you're done. So I thought
Yeah,
that was a great idea. It was kind of late for us this year, but I'm definitely getting some next year.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I definitely would be interested in throwing more things of that nature. And uh, I'd say this year, while I had a lot of stuff to throw.
Mhm.
Yes, the amount of beads that I had in comparison to, uh, like you were saying, stuffed animals,
Yeah,
the balloons, bouncy balls, things that people cherish or enjoy. Yeah, I had much more sustainability in my throws.
yeah. Aside from the pack of beads that the crew gave us, and we had our emblem beads,
Yeah,
and I bought a few cases of just the heart beads since we were riding on Valentine's Day. But really, that's all the beads I had. Like it was a matter of I don't know, 10 gross or something like that beyond the crew bag. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
it wasn't very much at all. Like the previous year, I might have had, I don't know, 50, 80 gross.
Yeah.
A lot the previous years of, but like I had far fewer stuffed animals and everything else too. So, but yeah, the crew light up stuff is great. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody gets to that
Koozies.
stuff. Yeah, I like the crew emblem beads. I hope those don't go away. That's one thing I collect.
Yeah. I
Like
know at Rex
always
you were
try to
going
get
after.
the beads. Like this theme, but it's like the King's bandwagon. It's pretty cool. But like they had one for every float. And, I don't get them all, but you know, yeah,
Yeah. I know you'd put a pretty
it's
big
nice
dent in them that you'd gotten. You had to have gotten like probably 17 out of the what
I think that's about
25 or
what it is.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how many floats they have 28, 27, 28, but I think I got maybe 17, 18 different ones. But luckily, I mean, as doubloon collectors, they only throw the one doubloon. So you get it, then you can start collecting whatever else you want, you know.
Right. Right.
But I
Um.
like those. I hope crews continue to keep those because I don't see those hit the ground. People do save those. So,
Yeah.
you know, but the generic beads, yeah, I'm with everybody. I think we need to stop throwing them for more than one reason. It's just too much trash in the street. It's expensive. Single use plastic is a problem apparently.
Yeah.
Uh, not disposed of properly and it's clogging drains and whatever else. I always find it hilarious the number. Like every year after Mardi Gras, they announce how many tons of beads they pulled out of the gutters.
Yeah.
It's like 100 tons of beads. Like what?
Yeah. And it just further proves why
Yeah,
we're gonna see Mardi Gras changing more and more to less and less beads.
yeah. I
There'll
wouldn't
still be
mind
some
it being.
beads, but I think that it's going to be more of the, like we've been saying, the cherishable beads. Whether it be an emblem bead, whether it be you know a a big bead.
Yeah,
Like those ones where the each individual ball of the chain is
yeah. Like giant Christmas ornament bulbs.
yeah.
Always get those and give them to the service guy, the armed forces guys. They seem to love them. So anytime I get one, I hand it. They're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, yeah." I'm
um,
sure they're posting it. All their buddies are like, "Look what I got."
let's see what. So we went to Nick's, and then the
Before
next
we
night.
get to that, we were talking to the professor, and they were making note about how a lot of them were trying to get away from the bees and that kind of stuff. And I had completely agreed with their ideas as far as they were talking about kind of how in the old days. You might have called one little thing like one little trinket, and that was it. There wasn't these massive throws where you get bags and bags of stuff from each parade. It was like if you got something, you were lucky.
Yeah,
And like if we went to more sustainable stuff where, maybe riders had a third of the quantity that they have, but everything got taken, home. Like uh, to me, that would be better because it's just better quality of stuff and usable stuff.
yeah. In between sustainables and collectibles,
Yeah,
with the
little
signature,
handmade
like
or
the hand
whatever.
decorateds and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And then collectible things like doubloons,
Yeah,
cups. I know some people who collect Mardi Gras cups.
yeah. I'll usually get a little stack. That's all I need for the year. I
Yeah.
think I got them all at Orpheus this year. Like there's a pile. There I go.
Um. So the next night was supposed to be Muses and Chaos and Babylon,
Mm,
and they got canceled due to high wind or
yeah,
rescheduled.
Yeah, high wind. Mm, I don't know about that ruling, but yeah, that was the official ruling.
Um,
Wait a minute, it's not even breezy out here, man. But you know,
so
they had try to see what they had to do to change the rules and all that right away. So
yeah. So let's see. On Friday, we ended up getting to see Babylon and Muses roll ahead of the other two, or ahead of that night's parades
right.
without bands and marching groups,
Mm-hmm.
which was very awkward because, especially with Muses, you
Yeah.
associate them so much with the connection with, all like the ladies dance teams,
Oh yeah.
all
Well, like
the
a lot of them started there, and I think a lot of the modern dance crews, if you will, the kind of more adult dance crews, kind of started with them. And to like see that parade go without it, it was odd. I mean, it's still a nice parade. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
that
they're
a
beautiful
parade is
parade.
much more than the floats, and to have half the parade, in my opinion, like that is, you know, it's good for the riders that get to ride. Still, you don't lose your parade, but uh, I personally like all the middle stuff. That's half the parade.
Yeah, that really adds a lot to that night. That typical Thursday night is, that Muses is like, I would almost say like a walking circus.
Yeah,
To where, you
they're
know,
the little neon characters out front. They still have it. I think that was it.
yeah,
That was I don't
yeah,
know,
with the
butterfly,
giant
whatever
shoes and the
they are.
butterflies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
much
yeah, I
it.
mean, you picture, the sirens.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, I, I always picture them kind of early up front in
Mhm.
Muses. You know, the Pussyfooters. You always imagine them marching in Muses. The Big Easy Roller Girls always roll
Always.
at the beginning of Muses.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
they're first or second in the procession generally.
yeah. Well,
You
they're the
probably
ones who usually are handing out like
yeah,
the
parade
the
guy.
bulletins. Yeah. So they rolled ahead of the Friday night schedule.
Mhm.
I mean, still beautiful parades, but it felt like we almost got robbed a little bit,
Oh yeah,
by not seeing them with the marching groups.
yeah. Well,
Understand what the situation was, but
yeah,
I would have loved to see it with those groups with them.
yeah.
Let's see. Muses had a bunch of sustainable throws.
Mhm.
I mean, but they're another one that always has, you know, uh, like 50 different throws that their crew throws every year.
Yeah,
To where,
yeah. They're not huge on throwing lots of beads. It's all different trinkets and whatnot.
yeah, um,
And didn't get me a shoe this year, but
yeah, I didn't catch a shoe.
I'm still walking with a bit of a limp with my one shoe. Luckily, it's not a high heel, so it's just
A
I'm just
flat,
at a little bit of a slant.
yeah. Um, let's see. Then that night there was Hermes.
Mhm.
Then there was Data,
Ooh, they tie.
and then there was Morpheus.
Mhm.
I know Morpheus had a sleep mask
Yeah.
for their signature throw. Did you catch one by any chance? I don't think I
I don't
didn't.
know where it is. I didn't get a decorated one though. I kind of got like a regular one.
Oh, just like a generic.
Yeah, it was I don't know, mass produced decorated. It wasn't like a handmade item, but still
Nah.
pretty cool. Still pretty cool. Yeah, close
Um.
I got to that is I got the ferret one. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they had a mask as
All right.
well.
It's messing me up going the wrong way. There we go. That was pretty cool.
Um. So I want to point out that Hermes was extra beautiful that night. It felt like. I mean, it's
Yeah,
always a
shame
beautiful
yeah,
parade, but
it
it
is, and I
seemed
never
even
give
more majestic that night.
it's a shame because I never give them their due because I really love Daytona. That's one of my top 5 parades.
Yeah,
So I'm
same
kind of
here.
so looking forward to that one that I don't really appreciate how good Hermes is, but it is really a nice parade. Like
Yeah,
they always put on a good one, you know.
yeah.
So,
I'm drawing a blank of who their float builder is, but
mm,
they do outstanding work.
yeah, I think it might be Royal Artists. It seems like they have picked up quite a few recently, and they're they have a distinctive look, and they also do Daytona too.
Yeah.
This year they picked up Rex too, apparently.
Yes. Yes. Data was hilarious as always. Um,
They do not care, man. I love it.
well, they had. I remember one of the floats that really hit home was making fun of the whole Epstein didn't kill himself thing,
Yeah,
and it was the front of the float was a giant Epstein, and right behind him was I would allege it to be Hillary.
yeah.
You know, I mean, that was what the running joke
That's what,
was with the whole Epstein didn't kill himself. Was
if you haven't seen Daytona, they don't really take sides. They just make fun of whatever it is,
everyone? Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, anything that's topical like that they could poke fun of, they will. They don't listen to anybody.
Yeah. They don't limit themselves to just bashing Democrats or just bashing Republicans.
Yeah,
They bash everybody.
yeah,
Yeah, they were real funny, and they had was it them that had the one with a Nancy Pelosi where it was her like bare breasted
oh,
and they were like drooped down and like one of them said like economy, one of them said impeach Trump or something like that to where each one of the breasts had something kind of emblazoned across it, and it.
I'll have to look back. I took a bunch of photos when we went for the swap over there.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was that one or if it was Data or if it was Chaos, because both of those parades have a very similar to where, there's like 4 or 5 parades that really do the full satire of, like to where it's like a political cartoon per se,
Yeah,
and that's like Data, that's Chaos. I would
that's
say
annoying to a point.
I would say Druids to a point.
Yeah. Not
Um,
as not as bold. I think Chaos and Daytona really are in your face about it. They're
yeah,
like a little more.
and Muses is really big on it. To where it's
Yeah.
got not so much pop or political.
Mm,
To where yes, there's obviously some political humor in there, but
right.
it's like I would say it's more like pop culture
Yeah. Yeah.
humor.
Mhm.
And then Tux, obviously, and Tux is even still, their humor isn't necessarily too much political cartoon that you notice.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot more of their stuff is making
They kind of make fun of themselves.
Yeah, is making fun of themselves and bathroom humor. To where
Literally.
yeah. So let's see. So that Friday night we saw those 5 parades. Obviously Daytah is up there as our favorite. What are some of the memorable moments of that night that you recall?
Oh, I don't know. I guess initially we didn't know if music was going to run that night, and that kind of came on late that they finally announced that those two were going to ride. So that was a good surprise after they got canceled because I thought they weren't going to run at all. And,
Yeah.
the music especially is a gorgeous parade, and I really wanted my shoes, so I was hoping that they were going to ride. So that was good to see them ride. Yeah, Daytime is always good. I mean that's all there is to it. But I agree with you. I think Hermes. I don't know if they stepped up or I paid more attention to it this year, but I really enjoyed it this year.
Yeah. Whenever I can post my pictures of it, you'll definitely, you definitely see the quality of the floats and whatnot that they put out there. And I mean, they do a good job with, they've got a couple of balloons, and they're one of them that I always think of when I think of light up stuff.
Oh yeah.
That they're real heavy with the light up throws to where are they sustainable? No, but you don't see them laying on the ground.
Yeah, they leave. That's my opinion of sustainable is that they don't just get left on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, they at least make it off of the parade route.
Yeah.
One memorable moment from that night that I know that you have to remember it. I'm pretty sure it was that night that the Madison Scouts were marching.
Was it that night?
Was it? I think.
I thought it was for Orpheus.
Was it Orpheus that they were marching?
I think so. I think that's the only one they ever march in.
I'd have to. I think you're right. Yeah.
Those dirty suckers, they got us.
Let's see. If I recall correctly, they also had Daytah with the Dictators dance team. Weren't they the Hanging Epsteins?
Ooh, yeah, it's always something along. I don't recall what it was this year, but I remember
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was a whole bunch of guys who were walking as
and
that were Epsteins.
that sounds right.
Yeah, so there with that night, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pictures that I think people will enjoy. In between the float satire and the group satires and all that.